You could say that awakening to our true nature is a process of gradual relaxation. That the ego is quite simply a series of contractions that happen simultaneously in our mind and our beliefs and our bodies, our nervous systems. And so as we begin today, I would like to invite you to notice that there is a surface beneath you that is inviting you to let go and let down. So bringing your awareness to that very surface and to the places where your body is in direct contact with it. And having a felt experience of the weight of your body settling. And it's very normal to have to bring yourself back more than once, as a tendency to kind of squeeze upwards into the territory of the mind and thoughts is so strong. And so again and again, give yourself the opportunity to experience something different, to experience your perspective when you let your attention come to the lower part of your body, come to the physicality of the contact of body to ground. And what does that feel like? What is your direct experience of that? Of noticing for yourself that you are held, firstly, physically. And as the body registers that, it will begin to slowly let go of any unnecessary tension. And so you may experience a slow kind of melting in certain parts of your body. As the skin and the receptors and those parts of your body that are touching your seat take in the solidity beneath them. It's like they send that message to the rest of the body. There's like a ripple effect that happens. And so you may begin to notice that your shoulders are softening. Even the contents of your pelvis and your rib cage may begin to settle in. And notice that this is happening all by itself. We're not telling the body to relax. We're giving it a direct experience of the fact that it's not necessary to hold all this tension. It's not necessary to hold ourselves together. In fact, it's uncomfortable. This little experiment that we're doing also tends to not only give the parts of our body that are ready to let go a little bit the opportunity to do that, it also can tend to highlight those parts of the body that are more resistant to softening and to letting go. And here is a choice point where we include our whole experience. We include those parts that are able to easily relax, as well as those which, for whatever reason, are not quite ready to do that. And to see that there is space for that in our own presence and also in the shared presence of our group here. We can use the exhale as an added encouragement to drop into gravity. Again, let go of any trying to relax, because the very word trying generally includes some contraction. So the guidance here is to notice what the body does naturally on its own when we simply acknowledge that we are resting into solid ground. The process of unwinding does not have to happen any faster than it already is. We're not just unwinding the physical body. There is an unwinding that simultaneously begins to happen in the emotional body, in the nervous system, in the energy body. So this cannot be rushed. We could, as the Buddhists say, take a backward step, which reminds us to mind our own business, to let the body do what it knows to do without our control or assuming that it should be any different than it is. So we are the perceivers here, the observers of a process that simply wants to happen. All of nature wants to relax. Wants to let go of any unnecessary tension. The inhale can be an opportunity to let the breath expand into areas of tension, as well as areas of relaxation, to bring them into awareness. So to acknowledge our moment-to-moment experience as we inhale into the edges of our being. And that inhale is like a gentle breeze, a simple acknowledgement, not a demand. Inhaling, I fill my body with awareness. Exhaling, my body lets go of anything that it's ready to. And as the system begins to relax, you may feel more connected to a more nuanced experience of yourself. That the mind perhaps becomes less dominant and there's more connection to sensations, perhaps even the senses themselves. To also a sense of spaciousness or presence that is separate, but also part of, you could say, our moment to moment experience. Separate in that it's not affected by what moves through our experience. And together in that it's not in opposition to anything, it is united. And so in this process of relaxation, we often become aware of more of our experience. We may become aware of thought grooves that we have been in, but not really noticing what impact it's having on us. And that may show up. We may become aware of emotions that have maybe vaguely been there, or maybe we haven't been noticing them at all. But as we relax, it's like our capacity to pick up the details expands. And this may be the point when we're doing self-meditation that we get off our seat, because sometimes we are not ready or we don't feel ready to presence a certain part of our experience. But this is the beauty of committing to sitting together for 30 minutes, in that we can support each other in staying here. So continue to include whatever comes into awareness as your system, as your body relaxes into the ground. commit to a willingness to connect. To connect to and include perhaps that tension in your shoulders or your jaw, that constriction in your throat, that gripping in your belly, that heaviness in your heart. Connecting and including. And when we include with kindness and with humility, meaning no opinions about what shows up, in time, those parts that have felt it necessary to protect themselves with this type of contraction, in time, they may begin to also join the rest of the body in this slow melting, this slow relaxation. And we get to see that relaxation allows us to connect more deeply with all of the parts of ourselves. And connecting allows us to relax more deeply. And so they feed each other. Relaxation leads to connection. Connection leads to relaxation. So we'll continue to include both the process of gradual settling and relaxation, as well as those parts that are feeling a little more held. And to see that there is something here that's able to hold space for both. There is no good or bad. There's just two things happening within the field of our awareness, and they both belong. They both have a role to play.